Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of VVB, and it's a co-production with my friend Bozo here, who is from Wine Lovers Croatia.
Yeah.
.com.
Yes,
right?
wineloverscroatia.com. We're going to have the addresses on screen and everything. But Wine Lovers Croatia is a new project of mine introducing Croatian wine scene to the world. Now, some people like Kevin, they don't need too much introduction because they already know everything. But for most people, Croatian wine is pretty much unknown still, you know, even though unfairly so, I would say. You can be more objective than me, but I think we have a lot to show.
But that's why we're doing this video, because we want to introduce more Croatian wines. And right now we are in Dubrovnik, the beautiful city of Dubrovnik, having wines from all across Croatia.
Yeah. You did a lot of traveling. Kevin was. I'm doing the very sudden thing of just being laid back and welcoming guests. But he's doing a lot of legwork in the last 2 months?
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, and going around Croatia. So he collected a few very cool bottles for us to try today.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you do normally here in Dubrovnik?
I do my, beloved Wine Lovers Croatia project, but basically my main business is wine travel. So I have another company that's called Insider Holidays, and this is a passion project of mine for the last 5 years. I've been doing mainly wine and food related travel and other experiences, tastings, master classes, and so on and so forth. So basically, I'm introducing travelers to Croatia. We are a very big travel destination, as you may or may not know. Croatia is a beautiful country. I think you have to agree with me on that one.
Oh, it's the most beautiful country in Europe to me.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm from Croatia, so I can't. But it's always nice to hear something like that. Croatia is very diverse, very interesting, and it has a lot to offer for a traveler that's interested. But you need somebody to show you the ropes, you know. And I am, of course, born and raised in Dubrovnik, and I've been guiding people around this southern part of Croatia, visiting small wineries, food producers, oyster growers, cheese makers, honey, so on and so forth. So we've been just traveling around, having great time, drinking good wine, eating good food, and learning about it and about its place in our tradition and history, and so on and so forth.
I have to say, the local food here is amazing. But some of these food you cannot just go to a restaurant and find.
Yeah, we do have still, thankfully, a lot of really good food being produced locally, being consumed locally. We're talking about organic stuff, we're talking about seasonal stuff, locally produced, farm to table, you know. I'm also a member of a slow food movement, so there's a lot of that philosophy still in Croatia, although we are getting, unfortunately, a bit more modern in this respect, and having more of our food imported, unfortunately, year after year. But when you come here, there's plenty of good quality food that you can still source locally as well.
So in front of us we have 3 bottles of wines, and the one in the middle looks particularly interesting. Well, okay, we finished half of it, but from the color you could see it's a bit weird, and then it's a bit cloudy. That has no label. So I will tell you what it is. It's an experimental petnat from a winemaker called Sontacchi in Slavonia. At a place called a city called Kutjevo.
Kutjevo, yeah.
Yes, and it's not released to the market yet, but we're trying it anyway. It's probably from Cabernet Franc, probably. Yeah. From the color, I would say it looks like it's from Cabernet Franc. Pinot Noir is not so deep, the color.
Yeah.
So there's only basically two different varieties for it over there. So So let us try this. It's okay. Can you tell us a little bit what is a petnat?
Well, petnat is basically a wine that's been bottled basically before the end of the whole process of fermentation. So once you open it, you get this fizzy feel because the yeast sort of wake up again and start doing their thing. and you get basically almost like a sparkling wine, but it's not really a sparkling wine. It's not a still wine. It's pet nat.
It's basically what wine is like when it's not finished yet. So you taste it out of the tank while it's still fermenting. It tastes like that. It looks just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
So when you smell it, it's still very yeasty.
Yeasty, yeah.
You smell the yeast in it. And then it's cloudy as hell. When you drink it, okay, it's like drinking juice actually.
Yeah.
It's still got some residual sugar.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah. The on the nose, it's like okay, it doesn't promise all that much in my book because of that yeasty thing, but actually on the palate it's very refreshing first and foremost, which I think sort of is the point. It's definitely it sounds like it has the feel of soft beverage, of a juice.
Of soda.
Of soda, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's very easy drinking. Slightly chilled, it does wonders,
How would you serve it? Just as aperitif?
Aperitif is a no-brainer, just like a fun, before we get to the actual food, but some sort of a meeting with friends on a hot summer day, maybe we're having the barbecue running, but before we get to the actual food, this is like a little aperitif to start it off. I would do that as well. And then combining with food, like, what this reminds me of a bit here in the South, what our grandmothers used to do and our mothers sometimes do nowadays is doing pomegranate juice. Right, like pomegranate syrup. We have a lot of pomegranates here, especially September, October. So
very expensive stuff in Asia.
I heard. Yeah. We have some friends who are now pining for pomegranates because I guess they are understocked in Hong Kong and similar places. But so this reminds me of... So that in turn reminds me of the way sometimes young cheese is served here. We had some young cheese earlier, so you know what I'm talking about. That young cheese is sometimes served with a bit of pomegranate, fresh pomegranate seeds, something like that. Very light, maybe neutral. Either with a bit of fat, that would be a good pairing. Even, I would dare to pair this with something like really nice beef carpaccio.
Right. So, do you think this is the future for Croatian wines, for making this kind of natural wine?
No. No, I'm a big natural wine proponent. I love natural wine, and I especially enjoy the company of natural wine producers because they're all crazy, but most of them in a very good way. And by the way, Sontacchi is a very cool producer, and I know his wine as well. I did not meet him yet, but I think he's doing a great job. Whether I would buy this very often, I don't know, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a great wine for beginners.
Right.
I think beginner wine drinkers, young people, fashionable people. There's a story. It's unfiltered, it's organic, it's this and that. I think it's a great choice for somebody like that.
So let's get to a more normal wine, because this is okay. It's a very niche product, right?
It's a niche product. It's nice. I don't like. I wouldn't spill it, but we have a few more wines to go.
The alcohol level is very low.
Yeah. You can tell.
You don't feel a thing when you drink it. Okay, let's have a proper white wine. So there's Kalma from Boskinac winery. I visited them, and they were very, very nice people. It's actually a 1-star Michelin restaurant, but they're not operating in this season. But then they didn't give me a wine tasting. They just gave me 6 bottles of wine and said, taste it at home.
Well, that's your social distancing working in your favor, right? We maybe should mention we are filming this in very early January 2021. So hopefully the bad memories of 2020 already behind us. But yeah, of course, Croatia being a big travel destination, we had very little in a way of travel, you know, and visiting guests this year. And of course, the wineries that cater to guests that come to them also had a tough time. But they did do well with online sales because everybody orders wine.
Where are they located? They're on the island of Pag, P-A-G, which is north of Zadar. About 1 hour from Zadar, you can reach that winery. But that island is very, very interesting. It's so barren. It's like a desert. There's hardly any vegetation on it because it's too windy and too salty. Yeah,
really windy. Like that whole stretch from Zadar to basically Crikvenica is this incredible because you have very, very tall hills going actually mountains going straight to the sea. Huge winds, right? We have them all over the coast, but there's something else. But Pag, renowned for cheese, for some of their traditional products as well, and from lamb as well, for lamb.
I heard that the cheese on Pag is the most sought after cheese in Croatia.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, we do have nice cheese all over the place, but Pag cheese is the cheese that's been mostly recognized internationally as well, coming out of Croatia. So it's already like an international brand.
And this winery, Boskinac, as I mentioned, they run a hotel, they run a restaurant, and they got 1 Michelin star. So it's quite upmarket. And this particular wine is actually the lowest end wine. And the funny thing about it, it's a blend of different grapes. It's the vintage 2019. The blend is 25% debit grape, 25% Trebbiano, which is Uni Blanc, and 50% Chardonnay. Very strange blend. I've never seen such a blend. Debit is a kind of local white grape that is quite nondescript.
It's basically easy drinking, refreshing whites. That's about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still make really nice wines with it, but it's never going to make like top quality, very complex wines, nothing like that.
But the name debit means debt. So it's sort of like the idea of paga debit in Italy, where you can plant it and then you repay your debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it yields a lot. Yeah, it's a very good yield. And then, the other 25%, that's Trebbiano, Uni Blanc. First time I see it in Croatia.
Yeah, I don't know.
Another quite neutral grape. 50% Chardonnay. So we'll see. It's a very intriguing blend.
What was the alcohol content? 12%?
12.5. All right?
12. It says 12, although you have
It's quite low. It's very low.
Yeah.
But Pag is very windy.
Yeah.
And then the 2 grapes, Debit and Uni Blanc, both pretty low in alcohol level. Yeah.
I'm actually getting Debit on the nose.
I get a Debit as well on the nose.
Yeah.
It's a bit sweeter on the nose than a normal Chardonnay. It's sweeter fruits, and you get a bit of that. A bit floral, sweet floral notes that's from Debit.
Yes, you get some like white flowers.
Yeah.
You get a bit of minerality as well.
And that's from the Pag Island. The minerality, that's from the Pag Island.
That's your Pag Island.
Yeah, it's salty.
Salty, probably limestone, mainly in the ground. So yeah.
On the palate, it is very salty. You get a lot of the mineral. You get a little bit of lemon, bitter lemon. And this one would go with oyster for sure.
Yeah.
Hands down, oysters.
Any sort of cold seafood, appetizers, oysters, carpaccios, especially like what we call white fish, or I guess flaky fish would be in English. So stuff like sea bream or amberjack,
sea bass.
Sea bass, exactly. Those you get some of that fish. You do like a nice carpaccio or something like that.
I learned how to say sea bass in Croatian, right? It's brancin, right?
Brancin,
yeah. Yes.
It's very sea bass and gilka bream, two the most common fish in these waters. This is Adriatic. So we have a lot of them, really good quality as well. But yeah, this would be a wonderful summer wine. I mean, I don't.
And I think it serves their purpose of having. This is probably the house wine.
Oh yeah,
at the hotel.
I would guess.
Yeah, it serves that purpose pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that, with debit it can be lighter in aromas. This is not that simple. This has plenty of complexity. I think it can take on other stuff. It can take on grilled fish as well with some steamed vegetables. You know how we like our greens here.
Yeah.
We like spinach or Swiss chard with potatoes. That's like a most common side dish for fish, especially grilled fish. So that combo with this, wonderful pairing. Again, especially on a hot day, I wouldn't mind it at all.
I think it's a pretty good introduction of the Croatian white.
Yeah, it's very
coastal style.
Yeah, very, very interesting, because you have to understand one thing. Croatia is very diverse region to region, okay, but we are usually drinking local wines here. I mean, traditionally, right? People will unfortunately, rarely go for wines that are not coming from their region, right, within Croatia. So even though we're a small country, it's still like a regional spirit, right? Yeah. So people in this part of the country, which is all the way down south, are going to drink mainly southern Croatian wines, and southern Croatian whites can be very heavy, basically.
Poship especially.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. A lot of sunshine, a lot of fruity extract. They have to have, thick skin. They accumulate a lot of sugar.
Right. And
then again, the soil is such that you get a bit of minerality as well. And, so you get rich wines that are not always the perfect pairing for lighter summer foods. And a lot of the guests that come here really just want a light white, right? And sometimes that's a problem to make. But there are wonderful light whites in other parts of the country. But I like it when local winemakers get a bit creative around here as well, and they produce something very refreshing, even in a very hot climate.
Okay, let's move on to another wine. We have here from another wine region in Croatia. It's Istria, where I've been to and loved. And this winemaker is called Fakin. The name is very exportable. A bit hard to pronounce, without offending everybody.
You know what? I did for the last 5 years. I'm doing some wine tours around Dubrovnik as well, and I had this wine actually quite a few times.
Yeah. And
my guests seem to enjoy the name.
It's Malvasia from Istria, but we have to take note one thing. Malvasia in Istria is different from the Malvasia here in Dubrovnik. There are two different kinds of Malvasia. The name Malvasia is very confusing.
Well, it's shared by something like 17 different varieties around Mediterranean, or even more.
Exactly.
I don't know anymore. And sometimes, you have Malvasia. Like we talked last time when we were in Konavle, which is even further south. Malvasia Dubrovnik is the same as Malvasia de Lipari or Malvasia de Sardinia or Malvasia de Sitges in Spain. So it's like to our knowledge, four varieties with one name, with different names, but all of them with the prefix Malvasia.
So we call this Malvasia Istriana in Italian, and in Croatian it's Malvasia Istarska.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically Istrian Malvasia, because we haven't been able to find a genetic identical to my knowledge. So I think we're treating this one as a separate variety. As an indigenous variety.
Okay, this is 2018. Okay, but this variety you can find in Italian Istria, Slovenian Istria, and Croatian Istria. Very complicated issue.
Yeah, we're not going to get into politics.
And okay. So Fakin is a winemaker over there. They have a restaurant on top of the castle on Motorfund. Yeah, and they serve a lot of international guests. So they do know how to promote their wines.
Yeah, it's a very prolific winemaker. They are really, in the last, let's say, a few years, they've been really coming up and offering finally, well-priced wines to compete with some of the most prolific Istrian winemakers. Istria is a very, very important winemaking region in Croatia, and one that's probably the best organized in the recent history.
And a lot of very historical producers.
Well, yeah, but you have that all over Croatia.
Right.
You have a lot of old-time producers in Croatia, but Istria has been really they displayed, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but they displayed the most sort of unity and organization out of all these regional, because a lot of times winemakers, everything is in the hands of small family-owned wineries, but a lot of times they're not very keen on working together towards a common goal, unfortunately, and that results in a lot of diversity, which is great to explore. It's good for my tours, but these guys are really making strides internationally as well, because they are able to sort of work together, you know.
And Fakin is a very late comer in this game. It's
you're right.
Established in the 2000 in the year 2000.
Yeah, yesterday.
And basically yesterday.
Basically yesterday.
But then this vineyard is quite old. It's planted in 1954. This vineyard.
Sure.
And then this wine, the interesting thing is the color is very deep.
Yeah.
For a Malvasia, usually I would expect quite a lighter style.
No, but it's not. I mean, a lot of people know it as predominantly a lighter, fruitier wine. Well, lighter, medium-bodied, fruity, white. That's hopefully refreshing. But you can do a lot with it.
But this is totally not the refreshing style.
No.
This is closer to a Dubrovnik style of Malvasia.
Yeah.
It's got 4 days of maceration, hence the color, and it's got 12 months of oak barrels, but not the funny thing, not oak barrel. Sorry, I take back my words. Of barrels.
Acacia.
It's acacia oak, not oak. Acacia barrels.
Yeah, that's a very Istrian thing.
Very Italian thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But Istria is very influenced culturally by Italy anyway. But this variety does have this acacia flower primary note to it, usually speaking, you know. So some of the winemakers will do it with acacia barrels, and I don't mind it at all.
But I've said this one is a totally different style from presentation of this grape. It's very weighty, very heavy on the palate, totally not refreshing. And then you get a lot of notes of honey fruits, even a bit of nuttiness.
Yes. On the nose, you would almost expect some sort of a dessert wine or something. You have a bit of that orange marmalade, honeysuckle, as you said,
very unusual.
Florals,
very unusual.
A bit of nuttiness. On the palate, you can really tell the wood influence as well. A lot of really woody, not even that many spicy aromas, more like woody aromas. I like it. It's very. You have to be. This is a wine you don't just have a glass of by the side of the pool. This is a wine that you probably pair with food, and we're talking serious food. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I was stunned when I saw the alcohol level.
I know what you saw because I was just about to say
it's 15% alcohol, and then it's got Malvasia La Prima because I think it's from some very old vines, planted in 1954. It's got a very good concentration.
Yes,
that's for sure.
Yes, I mean it is. I'm not going to say that it completely.
It's a single vineyard.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that it completely manages to get 15% in balance, but basically I wouldn't say it's 15%. But you can feel high alcohol. It's the warming sensation is there without a doubt.
Yeah.
So this would be a wine for serious food. We're talking I don't know, pork dishes. We're talking like some sort of a chicken-based risottos, maybe even curry-based or something like this. I don't know. Where would you go with this?
Maybe some local Istrian pasta.
Okay.
Yeah. Picanci or something.
Picanci. Pasta. Very big on Istria. Very big on pasta.
Yeah.
Picanci. In Istria you would get like picanci maybe with shrimp sauce, cream of shrimp sauce.
Important thing. Do you think this one can go with truffles? Because Istria, Mortofun, all about truffles.
Yeah.
Would you pair this with any dishes with truffle?
If they are seafood based, like scampi and truffle pasta.
Okay, this is probably the only country you would never do that in Italy, but this is the only country where you would do that.
Well,
seafood
that's
with
not my
truffles.
first. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Italy, they never do that.
Yeah, Italians are not all knowing. They're good, but yeah, seafood with truffles, I'm all for it. Well, certain seafood, right? It has to have a zing, like crab meat or various shrimps or prawns and stuff like that. That can go with truffles. I like it very much.
Okay, so that's it for now for these three wines. We'll come back for more wines in later episodes. See you later.